Hi everyone, we have a very special guest here, Steve Simoni, founder, CEO, Bbot. Thanks for sitting here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Nick.
So it'd be really interesting because you're in the grind right now from a startup mentality.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit what it takes to found your own startup and what piece of advice you would give another entrepreneur that's looking to start a company.
So I guess the main thing it takes to start a startup would be to know that you're going to be in the first 2 years or so is going to be a lot of customer development. A B2B startup is really where I'm speaking from here. Yeah. So you have to know that you're going to have to get outside of your house, outside of the term. You're not just coding. You have to get out there and talk. Yeah. So that was something that was a bit of a shock to me in the early days. And then I guess my advice for anyone who wants to be a founder and do this thing is you need to make sure once you start, you've given yourself at least 3 years, mentally, because that's usually 2 to 3 years to your first real traction.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's not everyone thinks startups, the next day you're going to hit it big and be the next Uber, but it takes time to build up and it's going to take years of hard work.
Yeah, it's not really a get rich quick scheme. Maybe that's how it is on TV. Yeah. But no, it's a fair amount of longevity required.
And why restaurant tech?
So it's not like we said, let's start a startup, let's go into restaurants. I don't think we made a concerted approach like that. Yep. We do, as 3 electrical engineering founders, we are into efficiency. And we just happened to, when we were sitting in a bar one night years ago in San Francisco, we just, when you're sitting around drinking beers with your friends who are electrical engineers, you're like, this is a very inefficient process. So we started hacking on ideas to make the restaurant more efficient. But I think we were looking at other industries too in the early days. It wasn't necessarily just restaurants to start. Okay. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Bbot.
So Viva is a smart ordering platform. So it's a system that, given where the point of sale market is headed, we saw an opportunity to build a system that overlays on top of it and allows, bartenders and servers to serve more areas of the place that they might not be touching if they can't touch every table. Yep. by letting the guests order and pay on their phone.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a guest. I don't download an app.
Nope.
So what's the experience like?
So we have put a disc or a small piece of signage on each table to code it. So you wouldn't have to download an app. You would experience the signage laid out in the space that kind of blends into the restaurant operator's area. Yep. And then the guests from there can use NFC or type in the .menu, the branded URL for that restaurant, and then seamlessly order and pay, and that fires off into the kitchen or at the service well. And then the runner or the server can bring it over to your table when it's ready.
Got it. So I show up at a restaurant, I want to order more wings or a beer, punch it up on my phone, and the server brings it out to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And where do you see the industry going from a point of sale perspective?
So we're seeing a point of sale market that's fracturing. So obviously, one of the things we do is we try to integrate with many point of sale, and as we go out and talk to customers, we see they have different types of concepts. So their concepts are QSR or limited full service. You heard at the show here talking about the different types and the metrics, for the limited full service, the fast casuals. And then there's one of our customers is a dog coffee shop. Half of the zone is for dogs. We're seeing restaurants come up with new concepts, and it's weird or maybe coincidental. The point of sale market is matching the needs of each vertical. So different point of sale is better in different concepts. Because there's so many different types of restaurant concepts now, it's actually fracturing the tech a bit.
Interesting.
And so because of that, maybe Square is the best in a coffee shop. And then maybe if you're doing a full multi-store enterprise rollout, you might use, one of the more robust point of sale. Like a Toast or, even one of the legacy providers do pretty well there. Mm-hmm. And then, in the mid-market, and then we're seeing some new players at the show here, Q and EatOS, which are, they're trying to position themselves as the fast casual enterprise solution. So you're seeing the point of sale companies also see this verticalization and then try to position themselves in one of those verticals.
Well, it's really interesting. We were talking off camera about, because I remember growing up going to a restaurant, there was a smoking section and a non-smoking section, and you had to request, I requested non-smoking.
Yeah.
So explain to me that concept and how that applies to restaurants and how you're taking that from a smart ordering perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we're bringing that back, like the different sections of a casual, limited, full service places can leverage our technology to have a section where you can order on your phone, and then a different section where you have the traditional service model. And we see that that's a way for operators to get some economic advantages, and also cater to the needs of each type of guest. Because the new diner, sometimes they want more of an experience where they drive it themselves versus an experience where they're being taken through an experience with a server.
And the server perspective, I thought was really interesting. They're making more tips.
Yeah, well, the nature of it is because there's more orders being generated, and also it's not being fully covered by a human server. There's now more tips overall to go to the tip pool. And you're splitting with less people as well.
And where do you see in the next couple of years smart ordering going?
So obviously startup world domination, going to be huge. No, I think that we'll finish the year with 100 customers, and we'll finish next year with maybe 700, 800. So we're trying to grow up big here. Beyond that, I don't really think that much further. In a startup world, you just got to execute each month. So no comment, I guess, on the huge vision.
Awesome. And question I ask all restaurant people, what would be your favorite item to order on Bbot? If you sat down in a restaurant, what's your ideal meal that's going to come to you?
Okay, so my ideal order, I'm a simple guy, just I like a bucket of hot wings, nice bucket of hot wings, and a bucket of like Yingling, nice cheap beer and a bucket of wings. Just sit down in a nice outdoor seasonal, order that on Bbot, enjoy the afternoon.
Awesome. Steve, appreciate it, man. Thanks for sitting down with me.
Appreciate it. Yeah.